music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
In the blood, in my veins, she is the platelets. In my old, aging face, she is the facelift. In the mountains behind my house, she is the trail. And if you ever open my book, she'd be in the tail. If I was a tree, of course she'd be the roots. And if my feet were cold, yeah, she'd be the boots. If I was ever to jump, she'd be my wings. She's the reason why my heart sings.
Just in case you needed a hint, everybody agrees she's my better half. Never had a hard time putting in a print, never had a hard time making her laugh. I'll never get caught taking her for granted. Forever faithful I will be. Every seed I wish for, the ash she planted. Really grateful she puts up with me.
Every breath that I take, she is the air. She's the standards in which I compare. When I'm lost in space, she is my thrust. Carries the oil can so my heart don't rust. She is the flag in which I would go to war. The umbrella when the rain, yeah, begins to pour. She's the reason I get up every time that I'm knocked down, and probably the only reason why I'm still around.
Just in case you needed a hint, everybody agrees she's my better half. Never had a hard time putting in a print, never had a hard time making her laugh. I'll never get caught taking her for granted. Forever faithful I will be. Every seed I wish for, the ash she planted. Really grateful she puts up with me.
If I were a tire, she'd be the rim. If I was a church, she'd be the hymn. If I was Dora, she'd be my map, the one I count on if I need a bitch slap. If I were a wave, she'd be the beach. She's the hand that will grab if I reach. She's the one who always got my back, the water that fixes up all my cracks. If I was a picture, she'd be the frame. And if I was a fuse, yeah, she'd be the flame. She'd be my compass if I were to get lost, the one that warm my heart if it happens to frost. She's the one who puts up with all of these poems, the one who brought me my patriot gnomes, the only one who completes the every me, the smile on my face when I'm happy.
Just in case you needed a hint, everybody agrees she's my better half. Never had a hard time putting in a print, never had a hard time making her laugh. I'll never get caught taking her for granted. Forever faithful I will be. Every seed I wish for, the ash she planted. Really grateful she puts up with me.
If you were a sentence, I'd hope to get life. If I had to die for you, well, I'd do it twice. If you were a germ, I'd never use soap. If I was thrown overboard, you would be the rope. If you were a planet, I'd longly gaze. If you were a meadow, I'd get down and graze. If you were a tornado, I'd live in a tent. You are a miracle, you're heaven sent. If you were a flower, I'd be the bee. If you were the beach, I'd be the sea. If you were a flat tire, I'd be the jet. The white side of yin yang, I'll be the black. If you were a pizza, I'd be the box. If you were a foot, I'd be the socks. If you were a cloud, I'd be the rain. You have my heart attached to a chain. If I were a song, you'd be the verse. If I was a casket, yeah, you'd be the hearse. If I was the wood, you'd be the fire. If I was on sale, yeah, you'd be the buyer. If I was a candle, you'd be the flame. And if I was called trouble, you'd be called blame. And if I were a zombie, you'd be one too, because you know damn well you'd let me bite you.
Just in case you needed a hint, everybody agrees she's my better half. Never had a hard time putting in a print, never had a hard time making her laugh. I'll never get caught taking her for granted. Forever faithful I will be. Every seed I wish for, the ash she planted. Really grateful she puts up with me.
If I were a tattoo, you'd be the ink. If I were an eyeball, you'd be the blink. If I was a brag, you'd be the boast. If I was butter, you'd be the toast. If I was Parasite, you'd be the host. If I was haunted, you'd be the ghost. If I were Hades, you'd be Persephone, eating the seeds of a pomegranate and trying our destiny. If I were a finger, you'd be the ring. If you were the queen, I'd be the king. If you were the goddess, I'd be the god. If you were the pea, I'd be the pod. If you were a desert, I'd be the dune. If I was the earth, you'd be the moon. If I was Adam, you would be Eve, telling me to wave goodbye to paradise, it's time to leave.
Tingling with excitement, trembling with horror, and throbbing with emotion.
Just in case you needed a hint, everybody agrees she's my better half. Never had a hard time putting in a print, never had a hard time making her laugh. I'll never get caught taking
Love is the greatest thing in the world. Except for nice MLT, mutton, lettuce, and tomato sandwich when the mutton is nice and lean and the tomato is ripe. They're so perky. I love that.